Welcome to IAS project. In this video, let's talk about economy during early Vedic period. We know that Aryans followed mixed farming. What is the meaning of mixed farming? Mixed farming means that along with raising crops, they also raised animals. So, Aryans followed agriculture as well as pastoralism. We must remember that early Vedic people were pastoralists. That is why their main occupation was cattle rearing. We can say that agriculture was their secondary occupation. So for early Vedic people, cattle farming or cattle rearing was more important compared to agriculture. That is why during Rig Vedic period, cattle were considered as a sort of currency. And values of various items were usually measured in the terms of heads of cattle. Heads of cattle simply means, for example, let's say you were a farmer during early Vedic period and you want to buy a bullock cart. So what you will do is, you will simply go to the carpenter who is making bullock carts and then you will make a deal with him that you will exchange, let's say, 2 cattle for 1 bullock cart that he is going to sell to you. So there was no money during this period. What people did was, basically, they bartered their cattle for different items that they wanted to buy. So that is why cattle were basically a kind of currency during early Vedic period, and values of different items were measured in the terms of heads of cattle. A bullock cart may be worth, let's say, 2 cows. A horse may be worth, let's say, 3 cows. Something like this. That is why Aryans considered cattle as their wealth. So a rich person or a wealthy person usually had many cows. That is why he was called as Gomat. The word go or gau actually means cow. So Gomat means a person who is having many cows. That is nothing but a wealthy person or a rich person. Moreover, Aryans also waged different wars for cattle. That is why the word for war is also related to cows. In Rig Veda, the battle or the war was simply called as Gavishti. And Gavishti means search for cows. We have already talked about this. We have also talked about another word which represents war. And that was nothing but Sangrama. Sangrama meant war. We said that when 2 or more gramas met, then it became a battle which is called as Sangrama. So Gavishti also means a battle, and this battle was mainly for cows. This shows the importance of cows to early Vedic people. So Aryans followed pastoralism as well as agriculture. But pastoralism was way important compared to agriculture. Aryans started to do full-fledged agriculture only when they settled in northern India. Because initially these people were semi-nomadic people and these people were moving along with their cattle. But when they settled in North India, they started to practice agriculture. Now let's talk about the agriculture that was done by early Vedic people. Early Vedic people had knowledge of different seasons. They knew when to sow seeds, they knew when to take harvest, and also when to thresh the food grains that they got from the harvest. The type of agriculture that was followed by early Vedic people was shifting cultivation. We also call shifting cultivation as jhum. So this shifting cultivation was basically slash and burn because North India was full of forests during this period. That is why they cut down these forests, they burnt the wood, and then when the land was cleared, they used this land for practicing agriculture. If we talk about the crops these people grew, then these people cultivated barley, which was called as yavam, wheat, which was called as goduma, and rice, which was called as vrihi. We must note at this point that barley was the most important crop for the early Vedic people. That is why we can say barley was their most important staple food grain. At the same time, rice was not very important at this period. So rice was produced relatively in a lesser quantity compared to barley and wheat. However, rice was very important if we talk about offerings that are made to God. Rig Veda says that rice should be preferred to barley or wheat when you are making offerings to God. That is why rice had an important value from the point of view of offerings made to God, but not from the point of view of food consumption by Aryan people. Early Vedic Aryans were initially consuming barley and wheat. In Rig Veda, the agricultural field was called as kshetra. And also, the term for ploughing the field was krishi. Don't worry about all these words that are mentioned in Rig Veda. I will give you a list of important words when I give you the notes for these lectures. You can find the notes on Telegram channel. You don't need to remember all the Sanskrit words that we are discussing in these lectures. So, since Rig Veda talks about ploughing, which is nothing but Krishi, we are sure that ploughshare was invented in early Vedic period. However, this ploughshare was not iron ploughshare, because iron was not used widely during early Vedic period. Iron was only invented at the very end of early Vedic period. It became very significant in later Vedic period. But during early Vedic period, iron ploughshare was not used, but wooden ploughshare was used. So, the ploughshare had been mentioned in Rig Veda. The words for plough or ploughshare were Langla, Hala, Phala and Sira. Again, you don't need to remember all these words. I will give you a list of important words in the Aryan culture notes. During the early Vedic period, Indra was the most important god. We have learnt previously that Indra god was called as Purandhara, and Purandhara means breaker of settlements. So obviously Indra god was very important from the point of view of war, but he was also important from the point of view of agriculture. How do we know this? We know this because god Indra has been called as Urvarajit and Kshetrapani. Urvarajit basically means that winner of the fertile fields. When we say fertile fields, we are talking about agriculture fields. And the word Kshetrapani basically means that he was the guardian of the fields. So he was basically the protector of the food grain and the protector of the crops. So the people in the early Vedic period also knew about sheep and goats. When they came to India, they also came to know about elephants. Elephants were not significant in early Vedic period. But at the end of later Vedic period and during the Mahajanapada period, elephants became very important. For example, various emperors of Magadha like Chandragupta Maurya and Ashoka used elephants in their wars and battles. But during early Vedic period, elephants were not important. However, Aryans knew about elephants also. Aryans reared sheep and goats mainly for their wool and meat. Since Aryans came from Central Asia, the climate was very cold there. That is why wool was very important fabric for these people. When they came to India, they also learned about cotton. That is why when they came to India, they wear cotton clothes as well as woolen clothes. And they made these fabrics by spinning cotton and wool. In Rig Veda, yarn has been called as Siri. What is yarn? Yarn simply means the thread that is made by spinning. And mostly it is made from cotton and wool. So by spinning cotton and wool, we get yarn or simply thread. For early Vedic Aryans, cow as well as oxen were important both from agriculture point of view as well as from food point of view. In agriculture, they used this cow or oxen to drive their plows. Moreover, they also used cow and oxen to drive bullock carts. But when we talk about horse, the importance of horse was mainly from military point of view. So Aryans used horses in two ways. The first and the most important way was they used horses to draw chariots. We already talked about Aryan chariots. Aryan chariot was basically a light chariot because it was having two spoked wheels. And this Aryan chariot was made such that it could carry two warriors on the chariot. Moreover, the Aryan chariot was also drawn by two horses. So this is how Aryans used horses for drawing chariots. They also used horses for riding. So basically, Aryans rode horses as well as they used horses to pull chariots and carts. So horses were also important from the point of view of transportation. Please try to answer this question. With reference to early Vedic period, which crop was not cultivated? We have four options here: barley, wheat, paddy. So the question is asking not cultivated. If you know the answer to this question, please comment in the comment section. Also, whatever was not cultivated in early Vedic period, please also write in the comment section when was that crop introduced in India for the first time. The next question is, consider the below statements regarding agriculture in early Vedic period. Three statements have been given here and the question is, which of the above statements are not correct? The first statement is, iron plowshare was extensively used in agriculture. The second statement is, rice was the most important staple food. The third statement is, pastoralism was more important than cultivation of plants. If you know the answer to this question, please answer in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.